What's up? My name is Tucker Swoboda, and I'll be going over my presentation about CTE in the NFL. CTE is a chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is a progressive and fatal brain disease associated with repeated traumatic brain injuries, including concussions and repeated blows to the head. So this formally happens in most football players, rugby players, and hockey players. And I have two pictures to show that these are very big hits that usually happen in football and the other following sports I listed. But you see these two players getting absolutely demolished by the defensive player and their helmets coming off, resulting in usually concussions from them hitting the ground or hitting the player head-to-head contact. So concussions in NFL football. So I just have a few things I'm going to be talking about. So 1.5 million sports-related concussions happen per year. This is in total in the U.S. And from all sports, you have football, soccer, track, swimming. You can get a concussion in swimming. It's very, very uncommon. But there were 149 concussions suffered across 271 games in total in the 2022 season of NFL football. This is a very big issue, as you can see from the graph I have on the right, because it goes up and down every single year. And you can't really prevent a concussion, but we will go talk about that later. And from 2018 to 2020, the average was 130. So imagine someone hitting their head over and over again, causing a concussion, and that happened 130 times in the NFL. So, concussion management. What every athlete in the NFL and in college and in high school has to do before football or whatever sport they're playing is called an impact test. So an impact test is when you have your person playing in that sport sit down, go on a computer, and do these tests that are memorization tests, and they help you to see where your brain is at on a standpoint of neurological level and where you are without a concussion. And then you get the data once you finish the test and say you happen to have a concussion. You have to take that test again, and you base your scores off of the first test and the second test. And if your scores are traumatically lower on the second, then you are not able to play that sport until you can pass the 6 steps to return to play. So the first one is back to regular activities such as school. This is no training, no working out, no running, no hard impact things. You're just allowed to go back to your regular activities. All of this is usually done within 7 to 14 days. So then you have step 2, which is light aerobic activity, as in walking, light push-ups, squats with no weight. You have to do this, and you usually build up to until you start to feel dizzy, lightheadedness, light affects you, sound effects, so you have to stop. So the next step is step 3, which is moderate activity, which is you pick up your running, you start lifting with weights, you try to get yourself sweating, which builds up your immunity to impacts to your body, and it can tell you if you have a concussion or not. Then you have step 4, which is heavy non-contact activity, which is heavy running. You're making yourself get tired. You're putting more impact on your body, on your brain, lifting heavy weights, doing lots of running, and starting to do things like vertical jumps and jumps back and forth where your head feels that contact on the ground. So then step 5 is practicing full contact. Once you're cleared enough by your athletic trainer or whoever's in charge with the concussion management protocol, you can start back in practice, light practice and some contact. And then step 5 is kind of split into 2. Then you'll go light, then you'll go heavy and full. Once that happens, you will be able to practice again and play. And then the 6 is competition, which means you're allowed to go head to head, not head to head, but you're allowed to go against someone, say head to head person, and go against contact, be able to get hit, jump, run, spin, all these things. So there's a lot of concussion prevention that goes on in college and NFL. Football especially, you don't see these in rugby, but you do see these in hockey, and that is the helmet. So the first helmet, the very left, is called the Schutt F7, and this helmet is proven by the NFL and the concussion prevention community to be one of the safest helmets to use when playing football, which prevents the least amount of concussions. That is hitting the ground, hitting head-to-head contact. Then the second one is a Vices helmet, and this is actually the most safe helmet to wear in a football game. This prevents concussions from, I think, 24% better than any other helmet. And so then the last one on the right is a Rydell Speedflex. This is the most common helmet. It came out in 2014, and everyone on college and NFL and high school level uses this helmet as the most popular because it is the most, over a long span of time, the most preventative to concussions. So then below this you see band prevention. What a lot of football players do in workouts is neck preventions, or neck stability with bands. So that is, you'll have the band on your head and you'll go back and forth, side to side, and this builds up the neck muscles, and those neck muscles connect to your head, and those when you get whiplash, those are the muscles that are used so much to prevent a concussion. And so we will do this and build up those muscles in our neck to help prevent concussions. NFL players in CTE, there's many NFL players that have CTE diagnosed after they are in the NFL and when they're in retirement. One of the most famous players is the NFL tight end Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez was a former NFL tight end for the New England Patriots, found guilty of first-degree murder, and later found dead in federal prison. Aaron Hernandez was studied after his death and found that he had severe forms of CTE directly linked to his years in football. So, traumatic head injuries usually cause your brain to act different than it usually does, and he was found guilty of murder, and so a lot of this is linked back to his days in football and when he would have contact over contact over contact, and you can see it builds up that it's his brain is larger in the atrophy of the fornix, and that is where CTE is found. And these are all the sources I use, which is the U.S. News and World Report. And then you have the NFL concussion numbers make significant rise in 2022, and this is from the NBC Sports Boston. And both of these sources are used as good places to find studies on concussions and prevention and what you can do best on that. And I will upload a copy of my speech that I based all of this off of, and this is the presentation about CTE in the NFL, which I took from my paper and just put it into a PowerPoint.